an especially dark time in my life. One of my children was sick, and in my anxiety for her, I was in my own way as sick as she. Then one day the phone rang, and it was a man I didn't know very well then, though he has become a great friend since. A minister from Charlotte, North Carolina, which is about 800 miles or so from where I live in Vermont. I assumed he was calling from home and asked him how things were going down there, only to hear him say that, no, he wasn't in Charlotte. He was at an inn about 20 miles away from my house. He'd known I was having troubles, he said, and he thought maybe it would be handy to have an extra friend around for a day or two. The reason he didn't tell me in advance that he was coming must have been he knew I would have told him, for heaven's sake, not to do anything so crazy. So, for heaven's sake, he did something crazier still, which was to come those 800 miles without telling me. He was coming so that, for all he knew, I might not have even been there. But, as luck would have it, I was there, and for a day or two he was with me. I don't think anything we found to say to each other amounted to very much, or had anything particularly religious about it. I don't remember him even spending much time talking with me about my troubles with him. We just took a couple of walks, had a meal or two together, and smoked our pipes, drove around to see some of the countryside, and that was about it. I have never forgotten how he came all that distance just for that. And I'm sure he has not forgotten either. I also believe that although, as far as I can remember, we never so much as mentioned the name of Christ, Christ was as much in the air we breathed those few days as the smoke of our pipes was in the air, or the dappled light of the woods we walked through. I believe that for a little time, we both of us touched the hem of Christ's garment. For both of us. For a little time anyway. Yeah.
One day I was having lunch with two college students who were talking about whatever they were talking about. The weather, the movies, when without warning, one of them asked the other as naturally as he would have asked the time of day what God was doing in his life. If there is anything in this world I believe, it is that God is indeed doing all kinds of things in the lives of all of us, including those who do not believe in God, and would have nothing to do with God if they did. But in the part of the East where I live, if anybody were to ask a question like that, even among religious people, the sky would fall, the walls would cave in, the grass would wither. I think the very air would stop my mouth if I opened it to speak such words among just about any group of people I can think of in the East, because their faith itself, if they happen to have any, is one of the secrets that they have kept so long, it might as well not exist. The result was that to find myself at Wheaton College among people
Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen groundswell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun, and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. While we keep building walls, something there is that wants to break them down. Jesus gave his life to break down the walls that divide us. And God's Spirit continues to work through us to make the gaps where two can pass abreast. Wall building can be a subtle process. We find walls of hostility surrounding us, and we are scarcely aware of how they came to be. One day we realize that we are not communicating with our marriage partner, or find ourselves alienated from our children. We are angry with family, friends, employer, colleagues. In our nation, we separate ourselves from ghettos, reservations, nursing homes, ethnic groups, and those whose skin color differs from ours. We drive on 4 super lanes edged with crown vetch to keep America beautiful, and never see the areas of poverty that exist 2 miles off the highway. Our walls are many, and they are strong and high. They were not built overnight, but stone by stone, as we exaggerated our differences instead of celebrating our similarities. But something there is that doesn't love a wall. Nature doesn't, Robert Frost tells us. Jesus didn't. That's why he came, to break down walls of hostility. God continues to work in us and through us to break down walls that make us prisoners of our small minds, our prejudices, and our fears. Later in his poem, Mending Wall, Frost says, "Before I built a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. To whom are we likely to give offense? We find ourselves in a world where many we do not even know are offended by us. We need to be reconciled to our global family. Recall the words of Jesus in Matthew. If you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother." We have tended to view these words as individualistic and concerned only with personal ethics. But our Bible is a Hebrew book. The Hebrew concept of shalom is communal and social in nature and knows no boundaries.
When somebody you've wronged forgives you, you're spared the dull and self-diminishing throb of a guilty conscience. When you forgive somebody who has wronged you, you're spared the dismal corrosion of bitterness and wounded pride. For both parties, forgiveness means the freedom again to be at peace inside their own skins and to be glad in each other's presence.
Shalom. The Christian church, in its preoccupation with personal salvation, has not always been aware of the cosmic dimensions of God's act of reconciliation. In our own country, the Puritans were among the first to look upon the forces of nature as something to be controlled, manipulated, and spent. The mentality of the Western frontier was to conquer and to control the environment. Axes were not gentle, and no one except the Native Americans were calling the earth mother, or speaking of the animals as our brothers. Chief Seattle's prophecy may yet be fulfilled. The whites, too, shall pass. Perhaps sooner than all the other tribes. Continue to contaminate your bed, and one night you will suffocate in your own waste. A Wintu Indian observed that wherever white man has touched the earth, it is sore. Sore earth, sore animals, with whom we have shared a day in Genesis creation history, hunted to extinction. Sore fields, as each year topsoil, lost from our farms, disappears at a rate of 12 tons per acre. Adam was told to till, abad, and keep, shamar, the land. These Hebrew words, abad and shamar, mean to serve, to watch over, and to preserve. To understand humankind as part of the creation and not superior to it is the first step in witnessing to the message that God's reconciling act on the cross meant shalom for everything God has made.
Centuries of handling and mishandling, most religious words have become so shop-worn, nobody's much interested anymore. Not so with grace, for some reason. Mysteriously, even derivatives like gracious and graceful still have some of the bloom left. Grace is something you can never get, but only be given. There's no way to earn it, or deserve it, or bring it about any more than you deserve a taste of raspberries and cream, or earn good looks, or bring about your own birth. A good sleep is grace, and so are good dreams. Most tears are grace. The smell of rain is grace. Somebody loving you is grace. Loving somebody is grace. Have you ever tried to love somebody? A crucial eccentricity of the Christian faith is the assertion that people are saved by grace. There's nothing you have to do. There's nothing you have to do. There's nothing you have to do. The grace of God means something like, here is your life. You might never have been, but you are, because the party wouldn't have been complete without you. Here is the world. Beautiful and terrible things will happen. Don't be afraid. I am with you. Nothing can ever separate us. It's for you I created the universe. I love you. There's only one catch. Like any other gift, the gift of grace can be yours only if you'll reach out and take it. Maybe being able to reach out and take it is a gift too.